Hi, today we're going to do an in-depth review of doTERRA's compensation plan. So regardless of whether you're doing the business just as a hobby or if you're doing it full on, really trying to not only supplement but actually replace your income, it's super important for you to understand the compensation plan because that way you can maximize the return on your efforts. So with that, before we get started, I want to make sure that you are aware of what the compensation plan is designed to reward. doTERRA is basically rewarding you for consistently enrolling new people, building customer loyalty, so those people that you're enrolling, actually supporting them and giving them the necessary oil education so that they, you create retention so they continue to use the product. So it's not just selling them a kit and moving on, but actually giving them that initial very good onboarding support during the first months. Within those people, also identifying who are going to be your leaders, right? Who are you going to duplicate this process with? And then finally, how you structure your team. We're going to dig into these in more detail. But before we do that, I want to talk about the Loyalty Rewards Program. The Loyalty Rewards Program is doTERRA's way of giving back. It's their way of compensating you for your loyalty. If you order 125 points or more, before the 15th of the month, you can get a free product. Usually it has a value of about $10. It's also a requirement to have a 100-point loyalty order in order to receive two of the different components of compensation. So in order to receive the Fast Start bonus and the Power of 3 bonus, you need to have a 100-point loyalty order at all times in your shopping cart. And once you're placing these monthly orders, you're able to get anywhere from 10% all the way to 30% of your points back in product credit. So you start out at 10%, and as long as you're doing a minimum order of 50 points, you will, move up by 5% every 3 months until you cap out at 30% at the end of the year. It's super flexible. You can cancel at any time, and you can use the products any way you want at any time. The next thing I wanted to share with you is just some basic terminology so that we're on the same page when we're talking about the different components of compensation. The first thing is personal volume, which is also known as PV. That is your personal purchases, and it's the volume assigned to the products that you purchase. Every oil is assigned a value of $1 per point. Some products like the diffusers and the supplements are assigned a lower point value. So make sure that when we talked about having a 100-point minimum order to receive compensation, that it's 100 points and not $100. Make sure that you check the point value. OV refers to organizational volume, which is basically the sum of your personal volume and everyone underneath you on your team, all of their volume. LRP, like we said, is the abbreviation for the Loyalty Rewards Programs, and it's the Loyalty Rewards Program, and it's a monthly automated order that gives you, it's the best way to get your products, is you can get products for free that way. Residual income is income that it's an investment that keeps paying you long after you've done the initial work. So it continues to be generated after you've done that initial effort. And like we mentioned before, a personal loyalty order of 100 points or more is required not only to receive compensation, but also to qualify for rank. Enrollership on qualifying wellness advocates is also required to advance rank. So now I'm going to talk about what that means, enrollership. In doTERRA, there is a difference between being someone that enrolls someone and someone that sponsors someone. So this is terminology that you're going to hear about. An enroller is a person who actually signed the person up. Okay, if you sign someone up, you automatically become their enroller. And as an enroller, you have 14 days to choose where you're going to put them in your organization. Okay, Fast Start bonuses are paid to enrollers. They also will qualify, the people that you enroll are going to be who qualifies you based on their rank for you to achieve your rank. Okay, we'll talk more about that in a minute. The difference between enroller and sponsor is that sponsor is where the person is located on the tree. So you might be someone's enroller, but you might choose to put them several levels underneath you on the tree, right? The person that you put them under would be the sponsor. They receive bonuses like the Power of 3 and the Unilevel bonuses for those orders. And the sponsors do not receive the Fast Start bonuses, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. So basically, enroller versus sponsor means who's receiving a certain kind of bonus and who will be able to qualify for a certain type of rank. You could be both the enroller and the sponsor for a person, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, these are the, doTERRA has different ranks of leadership. These are the initial leadership ranks. I just want to make sure that you're aware of what the requirements are to meet these different ranks. The first leadership rank is elite. That is when you have 3,000 in OV or 3,000 in organizational volume. That means that you and everyone underneath you totals 3,000 in volume during that month, okay? Premier simply means that you have 5,000 in total volume, but that is divided into a minimum of 2 legs of 2,000 each. In other words, in order to qualify as Premier, of those 5,000, 2,000 need to come from one person under you, and the other 2,000 need to come from everyone under another person under you. Okay, so if you had 5,000 and everything was directly under you, not structured down, you would not qualify as a Premier. So it's important that you're structuring it the right way to be counted as a Premier. Silver simply means that you have 3 elites, right? 3 of these guys. So 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. If you were perfectly structured, if you had 9,000 in volume with these 3 legs of 3,000 each, you would be a silver. And gold is basically having 3 premiers. So 1 premier, 2 premiers, 3 premiers. If you were perfectly structured with 15,000 in volume, you could achieve the gold rank. So now that I've kind of given you this overview, it's important for you to realize that everyone with doTERRA has a different goal and a different path. And so some people simply want to use the products for personal use. Some people want to receive their products for free by sharing them with friends. Others want to make a little bit more extra income, so supplement their income. And yet others are the ones that want to own their own business. These are the people that want to do this full time and are fully committed to doing the business. There is no right way to do doTERRA. One of my favorite things about it is that it's super flexible, and we've got the ability to choose what works best for us, given our current situation and our desires. So whatever your path is, embrace it and be happy with it, and know that you're flexible and you can always switch, right? So now we're going to talk about, based on those different ranks that we explained, what is a different income opportunity associated with each rank. So a typical elite, and before I go into it, these are averages. Your actual results are going to depend on, on your work, on your efforts, and on your success. So your results will depend on your ability to perform the work. And we're going to talk about what exactly that work entails in a minute. But basically, to reach the rank of elite, if you reach the rank of elite and you have about 3,000 in volume, you would typically expect to make about $300 a month. For the rank of Premier, you'd expect to make around $800 actually. It used to be $600, but we recently had this spring, we had a $200 empowerment bonus that doTERRA just put in play for us. So that's fantastic. So Premiers typically make about $800. Silvers typically make about $2,300. It used to be $2,100, but they also qualify for this empowerment bonus. Golds typically make around $4,500. Platinum's about $8,700. Diamonds around $16,000. Blue diamonds around $36,500. And presidential diamonds a little over $100,000. And so there's a couple of things I want to point out on this graph. The first thing is that this chart on your left, you're going to see what rank. But over here within the chart, you're going to see the different components of the income, how it's distributed. In other words, when you first start, when you're an elite, most of your income comes from something called your fast start bonus, which is labeled here in purple. When you're a Premier, about half of your income comes from fast start, and half of it comes from something called the Power of 3 bonus. But as you start going further up the chart, once you reach diamond level, this fast start bonus and this Power of 3 bonus is actually a very minimal amount of your overall income. Most of your income at this point comes from something called the Unilevel bonus, and then a significant chunk also comes from the leadership pools. So we're going to dig into those a little more deeply, but I just want you to realize that where the income is being generated during your early days with doTERRA is going to be very different from where your income is being generated over the long term. And so the key to all of this is that to be successful long-term, because doTERRA, first and foremost, is a great opportunity from a compensation perspective to earn a residual income. That means to continue to get paid. It's kind of like an asset. It's something that's going to continue to pay you for years to come. In order to achieve that, you want to make sure that you keep the eye on the long term, right? I like to tell my team that we're playing chess, not checkers. So don't get distracted by these initial this initial income. It's great. It's to help you. It's to help fund you. But I encourage you to reinvest in your team and in yourself so that you can get to this level that's more sustainable. Okay, so this is one component of income that I did not talk about on the previous slide. It's something that you can do. It's not one of my, it's not my preferred way of doing it, because this is what I consider hauling buckets. Basically gaining a retail profit. So this isn't ideal for you, and it's not ideal for your clients, but if someone isn't quite ready to jump into the oils, this could be a way that you could introduce them. So if maybe they just want to try 1 or 2 oils, you could sell the oils to them at retail, which is typically 25% over wholesale. So one way of doing it is they could log into your doTERRA website. We all have on, if you're a wellness advocate, you have a doTERRA website. You can log into it through your virtual office. It's going to be on the far right tab. If they simply go to the shop button on that doTERRA website, they will be able to buy from your company, buy from your website at retail. And that retail is going to be 25%. So you'll get to keep that 25% markup. Another way of doing that is if you buy something on your own account at wholesale, you could sell the product at whatever it is that you wish to sell it at. The typical recommendation is 25%. The reason why this isn't ideal for your clients is because that's a one-time sale and they're not getting the best price. They're not getting wholesale. One of the things that makes doTERRA unique in the industry is that they have an incredible retention rate of around 70%, which means that people try the oils, they see they work, they love them, and they keep coming back. So out of every 10 people, 7 of them are going to want to keep buying oils. And if you don't sign them up with their own account, they're not going to have an easy way to do that. You want to make it easy for them to be able to continue to buy their oils. So 1 or 2 things is going to happen. They're either going to go and find someone else that will help them set up their own account and get the wholesale price, or they're going to keep buying from you, but you're not going to be getting them the best deal that they could. Right? You're not going to be able to save them the money. The reason why it's not convenient for you or not ideal for you is because, like I said, if you're looking at the long term of this business, you want to create that client base, you want to create that loyalty, and you want to create that the Unilevel commission, which they need to be in your downline in order to create that. Okay, so the first real way of making money with doTERRA, the first real way that I consider an actual solid business strategy is to enroll them, and you can receive commission from that fast start bonus. If you remember, that showed up in purple in that chart. This is how it works. Anyone that you enrolled, you're going to get paid 20% of the product value of what they buy during their first 60 days. So for example, if Bob bought something that was worth 100 points, right, you're going to get 20% of that. So you're going to get $20, okay? Now, what happens next is anyone that person enrolls, right, you're going to receive 10%. Anyone that the other person enrolls gets 5%. So I'm going to go into this in more detail in the following slides, but basically, fast start bonuses get paid on 3 different levels: 20%, 10%, 5% on the enrollment tree. So here we're going to do a more concrete example. So let's say you enrolled Bob enrolled Amy, and Amy enrolled Liz. On Liz's 100-point order, Amy will receive $20 because that's 20%. Bob will receive $10 because that's 5%. And you will receive $5, okay, because that's 5%. So 20, 10, and 5, okay, on Liz's order. This is going to get paid for the first 60 days that Liz orders. So let's say Liz, she's a smart girl. She figured out the oils are awesome. She's going to want to take advantage of the loyalty program. She signs up for loyalty and she decides to place her orders. Let's say she enrolled on the 24th of February. She orders again on the 15th of March and on the 15th of April. So because this is still within the 60-day period, you will get paid, the 5%. Bob will get the 10%, and Amy will get the 20% on Liz's orders for the 24th, 15th, and 15th, okay? The reason she's wanting to place the order before the 15th is because she wants to get that free product of the month. But remember, everyone needs to have that 100-point loyalty order, right? Amy, Bob, and you will all need to have your 100-point loyalty order scheduled, because this fast start bonus gets paid weekly. And so if you signed Bob up and he doesn't have the order scheduled, he's not going to get paid that 10% commission, even if he decides to process that order later that month. Even if it would have qualified him at the time that Liz's order gets processed, if he doesn't have that 100-point order, doTERRA has no way of knowing that Bob intended to process his order the following week. So make sure that everyone has their 100-point order at all times. They can leave a placeholder there. Now we're going to talk about the power of three bonus, okay? This bonus is paid out monthly as opposed to the fast start bonus, which was paid out weekly, okay? So the way that this works, it has two main requirements. You have to have your 100-point order, and you need 3 builders, 1, 2, 3, with a minimum of a 100-point order, right? So that's 3 people that are on loyalty underneath you with 100 points minimum. That's requirement number 1. Requirement number 2 is that between you and everyone directly underneath you, everyone on your first level, the total of volume is $600, 600 points, excuse me. So remember, 600 points, not dollars. So if you meet those 2 requirements, you've got your 100-point order with 3 people with a minimum of 100 points as a loyalty order. And between you and everyone directly immediately underneath you, there's 600 total points. You will receive $50, okay? So the best way of maximizing this is actually to agree with every one of your builders on your front line that you will all do 150-point orders, right? Otherwise, it's going to take you, 2 other people over here to complete your 600 points. It's not the most efficient way of building. And so you might have the issue that someone may not be ready to commit to that. In that case, I encourage you to consider if that's the right person to have on your front line. So on your front line, on your very first level, you're going to want people that are really committed to doing this business. And, if they're not, then you might want to put them on a second level, right? So your front line is reserved. It's special space just for people that are ready to dig in. So that's the first requirement. Now, the Power of 3 team bonus gets paid at 3 different levels. So the second level is if you help your 3 builders earn their $50 by helping them find their 3 builders, right, that each have their 100-point order and their 600 points between them and anyone directly underneath them. Now, you're going to be receiving $250 while each of them receives the $50, right? Now, in this case, the person that has the 3 people under them has to be someone that has a 100-point order. So remember, this guy in red, he didn't have a loyalty order. So it would be wasted volume to have these people under him. So are you starting to see why it makes sense to really have your truly committed people directly under you? It's just a more efficient way of structuring. Okay, now this is the 3rd level that the Power of 3 pays you. Now this starts when it starts getting really, really awesome. So you have your 3 people. Your 3 people have their 3 people here in orange. Now, if you help those people in orange find their own 3 people and follow those 2 rules, now you're receiving $1,500. So basically, if you have 39 people under you that are committed builders and they're all placing 150-point orders, you've got $1,500. Pass go, collect $1,500 for the Power 3 bonus. I love this bonus. It's a great bonus. Okay, so here's a different way of just picturing this concept. Here you are with your 100 points. You have your 3 people directly under you. You get $50, right? If you help them, you get $250. So that's their 9 people. If you help them, that's their 27 people. You get $1,500. Okay, and it is paid to the sponsor 3, and it is paid monthly. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 4th way of receiving income, which is through the Unilevel bonus. This is how doTERRA compensates you after the first 60 days, right? So the first 60 days, you get the fast start. After the first 60 days, you receive the Unilevel commission based on how far down the tree these people have been placed underneath you, right? So if someone's immediately under you, they're 1 level below you, 2 levels below you, 3 levels below you. So the 2 things to notice here is when someone is immediately under you, you get paid 2%. And the further down you go, you get paid all the way down to 7%. So this Unilevel commission is split between 7 people, okay? So in this example, if someone signed up with a 100-point order, right? This person would receive that 2%. This person would receive that 3%. This person would receive that 5% because you are 7 steps away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You would receive 7% of that order. Now, I know that doesn't sound like very much, but bear with me. Here's what happens. Once you receive, there's something called dynamic compression that we'll talk about in a minute. But in order to receive the full payout, in order to get the full 7%, you actually need to be a level silver or above. So for example, if you qualify as an elite, right? An elite has 3,000 in volume, we talked about that, then you're only going to get paid down to level 5. So you're going to get 6% up to level 5, right? You only get paid down 5 people. If you are a director, the way to read this chart is a director means that you have a monthly point order, your personal order of 100 points and monthly organizational volume of 1,000 points. So directors only receive commission 3 levels down. The payout is only 3 levels down, okay? So now let's talk about what this looks like. I know that it didn't look like much, but what does this look like if you're actually duplicating and everyone under you is ordering 150 points? So you're a silver, right? You're going to get paid the full payout. You have someone that's 1 level below you. You've got 3 people. So 3 people, you're going to get paid $9 because 3 times 150 times 2% equals 9. So you can do that same math all the way down, right? So if everyone has it's a perfect structure. If everyone has their 3 builders and they're each ordering 150 points each month, by the time you get to 7 levels down, that means you're going to have 2,187 people, right? And you're going to get paid 7% on 2,187 times 150. That means that on your 7th leg, you're going to be receiving $22,963. Now, I know this never happens. It's never perfect like that, but this just gives you an overall idea of the power of the Unilevel and how this is a long-term. It's a long-term game. It's a long-term approach. And this is what you're getting paid on each individual level. This is what you're getting paid on the 7th level, on the 6th level, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st level. Now, what does that look like when you add it all up? So if you add all of these up, you will be receiving $32,571 per month, right? If you add up what you receive at each of the different levels. Okay, now what happens if some people aren't ordering? What if the person on your 5th leg and the person 5 levels beneath your structure and 8 levels beneath you? What if they're not ordering? What if they don't place an order that month? Well, what happens is doTERRA actually doesn't keep that commission, right? They will bump it up to the next person that does qualify. So you're going to get paid on the 6th person as if they were on your 5th level. So on this 6th person, you're going to get paid 6%. On the 7th person, you're going to get 6%. And then the 8th person didn't order anything either. So on the person that's on their 9th level, you're actually going to get paid as if they were on your 7th level. So you're going to receive 7% compensation on their order. So I'm going to say that again. If someone doesn't order, doTERRA skips that person. So you, no matter what, will get paid out on 7 levels. Okay. So now it gets even more interesting, right? Remember that the silver is the only level, silver and above, that gets paid the full payout. So what happens if all of these people between you, and let's say you have a rock star silver on your 9th level, what if all of these people between you and the silver, there's no other silvers there? So none of them qualify to receive this commission. Well, what happens is that if this silver, everyone that they have, let's say, for example, they have people on their levels 11 to 16, you're still going to receive compensation on that. And guess what? You're going to get paid 7% on all those people, because doTERRA, no matter what, pays at every single level. So the only important thing, if this sounds really confusing, the only important thing for you to understand is that no commission is wasted, and every single wholesale order will be paid out at the full 34% in Unilevel commission. If you add all these up, this adds up to 34%. So every single person is going to get paid, okay? The commission is paid monthly, like I said before. That usually gets processed on the 15th of the month for the volume of the prior month. And so in order to get paid, you're going to need a qualified, let's say that right now we're in June, it's June 15th. For you to get paid, you're going to be getting paid on May, right? On May volume, and you will have needed to qualify as a silver during the month of May. And on your commission summary, you will be able to see what rank you were paid as. It'll say paid as rank for the previous month, and that's how you'll be able to know how many levels down you're getting paid. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to share with you is that some people ask, because I've never actually heard of any company doing it the way doTERRA does, which you get paid more on the people that are further away from you. So the largest payout is on the largest volume. So some people might ask, well, I would rather get paid more on the top volume. But if you think about it logically, right, do you think that you're going to have more people? Are you more likely to have more people immediately underneath you? Or if everyone's working and adding people to your organization, are you more likely to have more people at the bottom? Right? Nobody ever has more people on their top level than their seventh level. So it makes a lot more sense for you to get paid on the higher percentage, which is at the bottom. So why do other companies pay the higher percentage at the top? What do you think? Well, so here's what happens. Because doTERRA's retention, like I said, is just unheard of in the industry, most companies want to pay people more at the top because they want to make sure that they start making some money early on, because more than likely they're not going to continue. So if they don't receive that compensation early on, they're not going to, they're not going to stick around long enough, because eventually a lot of people give up. So if you look at this comparison, you're making, only looking at Unilevel, so not looking at the other components of doTERRA's compensation, which is super generous, but just looking at the Unilevel to the other, the other way of doing it. So in the first levels, here's doTERRA, you might be making $9 versus $31. You might be making like $100 more the other way. But when you get really looking at the long term, look at what happens when you get to your seventh level, right? With doTERRA on your seventh level, you'd be making $32,000 approximately compared to $12,000. So almost 3 times as much, and significant, right? Compared to like $20 here, $100 there. Significant, tens of thousands of dollars different with doTERRA's compensation plan. So doTERRA is trying to encourage us to stay in it for the long haul and to really, focus on what matters, which is building out our Unilevel. Okay, so now let's layer on not only the Unilevel, but the power of 3. If you layer this on, you see that doTERRA still, comes out ahead of the pack, because the power of 3 is just so generous that you come out ahead, even at the very first, at that 2%, right? So $59, which is $31. And look at when you get down to the bottom. So $12,000 doing it the other way compared to $34,000 when you add on the $1,500, it's assumed that you would be making at this point with your power of 3. Where the power of 3 is having your builders, helping them structure the right way. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 5th way, right? This is the orange part of that chart. The 5th way of making an income, which is leadership bonus pools. I don't want to spend too much time here because it only affects, as you can see, levels premier and above. But these are pretty awesome bonuses, so I want to make sure that you understand them, even though they don't apply to you just yet. So let's look at this. Basically, 7% of the total company volume is paid monthly, divided into different pools. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? 1% is paid, this is a brand new, like I was saying, this is a brand new bonus. 1% is paid to premiers and silvers, and it's called the empowerment pool. That ends up being around $200 a month. And one of the requirements is that they not only qualify as Premier or Silver that month, but also that they enroll a new wholesale member with a 100-point order that month that they qualify. So there's 2 requirements to receiving the empowerment pool. You need to be qualified as a Premier. Remember, Premier has 5,000 in total volume with 2 legs of 2,000 each. Executive means 2,000. Silver means there's no total monthly volume requirement. It just means that you need to have 3 legs of 3,000 each, okay? So if you qualify as a Premier or a Silver, and you enrolled someone that month with a minimum of 100-point order, you are entitled to an empowerment pool bonus, which is 1%, which is 1% of the total company volume during that month, and it is normally around between $190 and $200, okay? So let's look at that. So 1% of commissionable volume, 1 share is worth around $200. Premiers get 1 share, Silvers get 1 share. Okay, in this example, to be a Premier, you need 5,000 in total volume under you with 1 leg of 2,000 and 2 legs of 2,000, okay? Requires 1 personally enrolled wholesale member with a 100-point order that month. That's how you receive that bonus. Now let's see what that means in terms of Premiers and what their total compensation averages out to. So average and regular commissions with Unilevel and fast start bonuses and Power 3 is $797. Now you add on this $200 empowerment bonus to Premiers. On average, Premiers make, close to $1,000 a month, okay? So now let's talk about Silvers. So besides the empowerment bonus, there is a different kind of leadership bonus, which is called the leadership performance pool, right? This is 2% of the commissionable volume, and it's divided between Silvers, Golds, and Platinums. Silvers get 1 share, Golds get 5 shares, Platinums get 10 shares. Each share is worth approximately $150. So what that means is that for a Silver, they'll get another $150 just because they're part of this pool, just because they hit rank that month. Golds will get 5 shares, so 5 times 150 is 750. Platinums will get 10 shares, so 10 times 150, that's 1,500. Okay, so what does that mean for Silvers? Remember, Silvers have 1 leg of 3,000, 2 leg of 3,000, 3 legs of 3,000, okay? So Silvers have 3 legs, 3 elite legs, or 3 legs of 3,000 each. So let's see what it means for Silvers. So on average, Silvers will make about 2,000 in commission. That includes fast start bonuses and Power 3 and Unilevel. We're adding the leadership bonus pool, which you just talked about, which is $150. We're adding the empowerment pool, which we talked about earlier. That's the $200. So the total average monthly commission for a Silver is around $2,400. Remember, to qualify for this empowerment pool, they need a personally enrolled 1 person with a 100-point order that month. Okay, so Silvers make around $2,400 a month, and those are the components. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some other goodies, right? We're going to talk about extra shares that people get for people that they personally enrolled. So if you look, here we talked about the number of shares that you get. Now we're going to talk about these extra shares. So we're looking at this part. So 1 extra share each for Silver, Gold, and Platinum for every personally enrolled elite. That means that if you qualify as a Silver and during the month that someone that you enrolled qualified as an elite, that means they reached 3,000 in volume, you're going to get paid $150, okay? So if you add the $150 from making Silver to the $150 from your personally enrolled elite, that means that you're going to have $300, right? For Golds, you get 5 shares, like we said before, but if you add that personally enrolled elite, now you're making $900 from these performance pools. And if you're a Platinum, you get 10 shares, so that's the 1,500 we talked about before. If you add this personally enrolled elite, now you're making $1,650. So you're getting an extra $150 during that very first month that personally enrolled elite qualifies as an elite. You need to have kept the enrollment, right? This is important. So if you gave the enrollment away, even though you initially enrolled them, then you think that person won't qualify you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, we talked about all the levels below Diamond. Now what happens with the Diamonds? What kind of performance, bonuses and pools do we have? Well, it gets pretty good, right? So in order to become a Diamond, You need to have 4 silver legs, right? Basically 12 elites, because each silver requires 3 elites. So 3 times 4 is 12. So 4 silver legs makes you a diamond. To be a blue diamond, you need 5 golds, okay? To be a presidential diamond, you need 6 platinums, okay? A platinum is just basically someone with 3 silver legs. So here's what happens. Diamond performance pool is around $1,200. So if you're a diamond, you get 1 share. If you're a blue diamond, you get 2 shares. If you're a presidential diamond, you get 3 shares. Besides that, there's also the diamond pool, which is separate from the performance pool, where you get 1% of the company volume split up only between people. So this is 1% split up between diamond, blue diamond, presidential diamond. But then you get the diamond pool, which is 1% of the volume split up solely between diamonds, 1% split solely between blue diamonds, another 1% split up solely between presidential diamonds. Now, as you can imagine, there's a lot more fluctuation in these numbers because there are a lot fewer people qualifying for them. So what this means, if you tie this together, right? So you're going to get 3 shares of the diamond pool, 3 shares of the blue diamond pool, and 3 shares of the presidential diamond pool. This means that diamonds on average make between $4,300 and $4,700 simply from this component of the compensation plan. Blue diamonds vary from $8,000 to $13,000 a month, and presidential diamonds vary from $25,000 to $38,000 a month, right? So it all depends on what's in that month's pool and how many people qualified. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what do diamonds get extra? What do they get extra when someone qualifies, and what does the person need to qualify for? So as we mentioned before, the diamonds performance is approximately $1,200. So you get an extra diamond share when you personally enrolled a premier and you made diamond during the month that they qualified for the first time as a premier, okay? So that means that you get around $2,400 extra dollars, right? The blue shares are around whenever you enroll 1 premier, you personally enroll them, you're gonna get about between $4,000 and $5,000, right? And for presidentials, they get 1 share for each new personally enrolled premier, which is about $200, and they get 1 share for each personally enrolled silver, okay? So they get 1 of these, it needs to be a premier, and to get another 1 of these, it needs to be a silver. So the diamonds basically get 1 of these and 1 of these for premier. For the blue diamond, the bottom one actually has to be a silver. Okay, so let's put this all together. So now that we've gone through that, we can see most of the income comes from Unilevel. Most of the income comes from repeat sales. So as you can imagine, the Unilevel, as you get bigger, is going to be the largest part of your check. But you need to make sure that that you're constantly enrolling. So it's key. This is why doTERRA compensates as a way to do. This is why they reward you enrolling people and finding leaders. In order to get here, you need to have several things. You need to have enrolled. You need to have supported so they keep buying. And you need to have builders. You need to have leaders under you, right? So those are the main components. Okay, so what does this mean in terms of annual income? Silvers on average, they make up 62% of the company, and it's around $26,000 in earnings. Golds make up 23% of the company. They make about $57,000 in earnings. Platinums make about 100. You see, it kind of starts doubling. You see how it starts doubling? So another way of just expressing this is that your income potential truly is unlimited with doTERRA. It's just about, what your goals are and how far you want to go. What's the average time that it takes to get there? Silver is a typical silver. It takes about a year. I was talking about this with a friend. There's a video out there. The man who wrote GoPro, Eric Rohr, it's fantastic. If you are in this to do it, full on, I encourage you to focus on enrolling people. Get started quickly from the get-go, okay? Momentum is key. So it is proven that the faster you get going, the more energy there is behind it, and the more excited your people are going to be, and the more loyal they're going to be, and the more likely that you're going to retain them. So I encourage you, you want to get there. Yes, you can take your time with doTERRA, but your success level, if you look at this, the people that hit diamond and blue diamond and presidential diamond on average, they did it pretty quickly, right? They got that momentum going. They did that strong push. They did that season and sacrifice, and then it paid out for them. So this is the average amount of time that it takes to make the different ranks. Okay, and this is totally doable, right? Anyone who wants to do this can achieve this. It's just a matter of whether it's a priority for you. But you know, in 2015, 3,000 new people made the rank of silver. That means that 3,000 people added $26,000 to their family budget. 1,000 people made gold, 435 people made platinum, 266 people made diamond, 60 people made blue diamond, and 13 new people made presidential diamond. So it's pretty fantastic, and it's exciting. Okay, so you know, there's, like we talked about at the beginning, I want to make sure to encourage you, figure out what is the best path for you. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different life situations, right? So depending on what's right for you at this moment in time, you could choose to get your products for free simply by sharing with your friends, right? And setting up your LRP order, and teach the first steps in the power of 3, okay? Help people figure out how they can make their $50 or their $250 power of 3. That'll pretty much cover your products. You wanna make some extra cash, right? Have some extra spending money. Start teaching classes, set up that first day. It's just a matter of having that first class. Invite the people that enrolled you to come with you to help you have that first class, or invite your friends to that person. If that person teaches classes regularly, invite them to one of their classes. And if what you're really looking for is to replace your income, I encourage you to start looking for builders, start thinking about who you want to partner with, who you want to work with, and approach them, because doTERRA is a fantastic business opportunity. So it's so much more fun to do this. I've done it both ways, but it's so much more fun to do this business when you do it with your friends, right? When you do it with people that you enjoy. Here are some additional resources for you that I hope will help you. That chart that I showed you with the different income levels and the different colors, that is called the Build Guide. You can find it along with a summary of the business and a compensation plan at sharesuccess.com/build. There was a really fantastic video that a man named David Ellis created. He is, I believe, a blue diamond leader with doTERRA. He used to be a personal financial planner and decided to jump into this business when he realized what a fantastic source of residual income it really is. What a great opportunity. So I encourage you to check that video out. Here's a link. And then if you want to learn, get into the nitty-gritty of the compensation plan, the doTERRA compensation flyer can be found on this link. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope that was helpful for you. And I encourage you to go out and find out whatever the ideal business level is for you, what your ideal, rank or number of enrollments, or, how you want to live doTERRA personally. I encourage you to go out and do it, because all of this information will be so useful to you, and you can bless so many lives by just going out there and sharing. Thank you again. Bye.